Terraria is a massive game with over 5,000 items in total, and with a number that big comes a lot of things that most people probably don't know. For instance, did you know that with all 5 of the portable storage items in the game, plus your inventory, you can carry almost 2.5 million items at once? And here you are still complaining about inventories being too small. Today, we're not covering items though, we're covering the creatures of this game. There's a lot of rare and pretty useless enemies in this game that a lot of people don't know about, and I want to shine some light on them. Today, I'm going to cover 7, some obviously being more well known than others, but not in any particular order. Of course, there's no secret enemy video without talking about Dr. Bones. This Indiana Jones inspired zombie with a hat on has got to be one of the most iconic secret enemies in Terraria, added all the way back in 1.0.4. But if you've never come across this enemy, I can't blame you. He is, at least from what I know, the rarest zombie variant in Terraria, only spawning in the jungle biome at night with a spawn rate that puts the groom to shame. If you ever played old gen Terraria Mobile, you might recognize the hat from the old logo, and if you do, I love you. I bet that portraying Indiana Jones as a dead zombie was the Terraria developers' prediction that the Indiana Jones movie franchise was gonna die. A good prediction. The wolf is an enemy introduced in 1.2 that pretty much got no attention before 1.4.4, where it now drops Lilith's necklace. It spawns in the snow biome at night, so it's definitely on the more common side, but it's still pretty rare for some reason. I decided to spend a couple nights on 2x spawn rate to see how many I could rack up, and I came out with a grand total of 17. Divided by both nights and divided by the spawn rate, we get around 4 wolves every night. I would love to give this enemy good boy points for the necklace drop, but the rate for it is pretty small. They do look cool though. If you've ever watched Wand of Sparking, you know exactly what this enemy is. In all of their goofy looking glory, the rock golem. This enemy is kinda like a cavern layer mini boss, but also not really. I'm honestly not sure why Relogic added this enemy at 1.4, considering it literally drops nothing of value besides a vanity hat that is way too rare for its own good. I suppose it adds some diversity to the cavern layer enemies. A fun fact about the rock golem is that it drops the second most coins for any non-boss enemy, only beaten out by mimics. The only other unique thing about this enemy is that you can't stun lock it, so it's kind of just a battle of willpower when you fight it. I think in 1.4.5 it would be pretty cool to see this enemy get a weapon drop or something similar, because although this enemy is pretty nifty, the rock golem is completely useless in the grand scheme of things. Sorry, Wand of Sparking. While on the subject of useless enemies, let's talk about one of the coolest to ever naturally come across in Terraria, the rainbow slime. If you've seen one of these in the wild, you know what I'm talking about. All you have to do is be in the hollow while it's raining for this to have a chance to spawn. I'm not sure why Relogic decided to make it so beefy, but maybe it ate up all the other colors and that's why it's rainbow. Move aside, King Slime. The only reason I don't call this enemy entirely useless is because it can drop rainbow brick. Not really practical, but it is nice for builders. It also allows you to make rainbow torches, which just look sick. And obviously you need to defeat it for the Gelatin World Tour achievement. Overall, pretty cool enemy. Some of you might be surprised to see the next enemy on the list, but you would be surprised how many people don't know about the Pigron. This specifically spawns in the Underground Hollow, Corruption, or Crimson Ice biome. It's an incredibly unique enemy and even has its own weapon drop. Now the odds of you getting that drop are slimmer than you getting a girlfriend because this enemy is almost impossible to find. It also has a chance to drop bacon, a kite, and a minecart, all looking Considering the name, you would think it was added when Duke Fishron was introduced, but you would actually be completely wrong. I would imagine the developers took inspiration from this enemy for Duke though. This enemy can also change states for some reason. It can become transparent and move through walls, but it can also become solid when it's within attacking range. This is a weird enemy. I do appreciate the developers trying to make it somewhat useful in 1.4, but I'm also slightly worried about their sanity. Who comes up with this? Alright, what are we gonna do for the next enemy? Next enemy. You might be wondering why I edited a fake out-of-storage notification into this video, and that's because while editing, this exact thing happened to me, and in the process of deleting files, I accidentally deleted this video. But if I had been using today's sponsor, Boosteroid, from the beginning, this would have never happened. Boosteroid is a cloud gaming service that completely handles all of the storage and processing power for you. No more will your drives be completely full of games. But that's not the only perk. Since it's a cloud service, you don't have to stick to a computer. Boosteroid has a mobile app too. It's kind of like a Steam Deck, but you actually have battery and it's 80 times cheaper. Of course, I'm not just going to sit here and tell you what the service can do though. I played Terraria and Fortnite on Boosteroid, and besides the occasional lag spike, I had practically no issues playing. Besides my skill. Plus, I was reaching FPS that my low-end gaming laptop couldn't even dream of. I even tried it on my phone and the performance was just as good as my computer. I still suck at Fortnite though. Keep in mind that with any cloud service, your performance will vary based on how good your connection is, but don't worry because Boosteroid has an internet speed test in the website, so make sure to try that out before signing up. Also note that Boosteroid doesn't provide free access to paid games, they just give you the high-end hardware for dirt cheap. Anyways, go click the link in the description and start playing today for as low as $8 a month. That's literally a steal, may I add. It's a great choice if you don't own a top-of-the-line gaming PC but still want to play high-end games. Anyways, back to the video. Go ahead and keep that sanity question from earlier in mind because the next enemy we're covering is the Chattering Teeth Bomb. I wish I was joking. This enemy is a hard mode exclusive specifically spawned by the Clown. Who else? It has the Herpling AI, so pretty much all it does is jump around until it collides with you and explodes, dealing some pretty good damage. It's very easy to miss in a playthrough because clowns are a pretty rare enemy that only spawn in a pretty rare event, and blood moons are already overwhelming in the first place, so odds are you aren't looking at what type of bomb a specific enemy is throwing. Although this thing only appears in 1.4, it was actually an unspawnable enemy added in 1.3. I guess the developers dropped their standards a bit. I'm joking, of course. This is a very unique and fun enemy, just not one you'll notice too often. Leave a toothbrush emoji in the comments if you knew about this enemy. For this next one, I want to go slightly off topic and talk about the enchanted sword. Not so much about the sword itself, pretty much everybody has seen this before. I actually want to talk about a specific drop it was given in 1.4. This was a rare but valuable weapon that was actually promoted to a boss drop in 1.4.1. Odds are you already know what I'm talking about, but in case you don't, I'll give you one more hint. Summoner. Got your guess? It's the blade staff, come on. I mainly wanted to mention this because I'm curious how many people actually got this weapon in a legit Terraria playthrough. I got mine on my first Master Mode playthrough and it pretty much carried me up until Terraria. This weapon isn't very much a secret and pretty much everybody knows about it, but I would imagine only some know about the origins of it. And for the last enemy, I want to talk about an actual mini-boss. You know Tim, right? That wonderful little wizard that drops you that nifty looking hat. Did you know there's actually an upgraded version of him? It spawns in the same area that Tim does, but it's locked behind hard mode. It's also incredibly annoying when you're trying to mine for hard mode ores. Of course, I'm talking about the Rune Wizard. I actually don't hate this enemy, I just think it's incredibly annoying considering all it drops is vanity. It shoots these very fast and very high damaging green bolts at you. The main reason this guy sucks is because odds are when it spawns, you're going to be in a cramped, confined space where you can barely move and it will easily and utterly tear you to shreds. I really think this mini-boss would be cool if it dropped an upgraded version of the Wizard's hat. Then it would give early hard mode mages a much needed damage boost. Of course, that's just my opinion though. And if you want to hear more of my opinion, I got a video for you right here. And if you've already watched it, you clearly enjoy my content, so feel free to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you enjoyed. Once again, thanks to Boosteroid for sponsoring this video. Go start playing today for just $8. Anyways, later.